Hey guys, Brent Boyer from Adam. So let's talk divorce. I want to talk today about a question that I got recently from a client about adultery. Does adultery affect my divorce case was the question. So first of all, one question would be, is adultery a crime? Is this something that I have to worry about in the state of Michigan? If I'm having an affair and I'm married, is there an issue with that? Am I going to get charged with a crime? So the answer to that is no. In Michigan, it is technically criminal. It's actually technically a felony, but no one's ever charged with it. There's no one pursuing that. So there's not a real concern as far as criminal charges on whether you're having an affair or your wife's having an affair. However, it can affect things in your divorce case. So to begin with, Michigan's a no-fault state. So that means you don't need a reason to get divorced. Used to be long ago you needed a reason. So you'd have to prove adultery, abandonment, abuse, these other things. If you were going to get divorced, you'd have to prove one of those things or you couldn't get divorced. That's not the way it is now. So adultery is not necessary as far as those kind of issues because you don't need to prove any of that to get divorced. If you file for divorce, you want a divorce, you're going to get one. That's what no fault means. But divorce and adultery the intersection of those two things, it can come into play when you're looking at property division and a little bit in child custody disputes as well. So in property division, adultery can come into play as being fault. So your spouse could accuse you of being at fault for the breakdown of your marriage because you were having an affair. This caused the divorce, and that's her theory. And if that was something that in an extreme situation you ended up at trial and a judge was deciding the case, they could give your wife 55% of the property instead of 50%. So it's only a 5% difference. Even in a real extreme situation, they'd have to establish at trial not only were you having an affair, but the affair was the cause of the breakdown of the marriage and really the only cause of the breakdown of the marriage. And that's hard to do. But adultery can still come into play. You'll hear discussions with it in negotiating about trying to get property settlement and trying to get a little more for the other person and saying, well, you were having an affair, so my client should get more money and whatever it is. It's a very small factor in general. It's not a zero. It's really like a 5% factor is the best way to put it. Adultery, when it comes to custody, if there's a real dispute about custody and parenting time and who's going to get the kids in the divorce, it's again a very minor factor. One of the best interests of the child factors is moral fitness of the parties, and one of them having an affair can be a factor in the sense of, okay, that's kind of an immoral issue and could be a problem. Again, very minor, very extreme situations where adultery would come into play with a divorce case. The other way it can affect things, though, is we don't need your wife all upset about the fact that you're having an affair, because you got to remember we're going to at some point have to reach a settlement, and that's the person we're going to ultimately have to be dealing with. So we don't need this affair being flaunted. We don't need your wife knowing about more than she already knows, or vice versa. We don't want these affairs getting in the way of divorce cases. So the best advice on that is keep it to yourself. Keep your private matters private, and you don't want your wife knowing more than she needs to know. You're going your separate ways. That's how it is, and that's how it should stay. So those are all some thoughts on adultery and how it affects divorce. And if you have any questions, of course, give me a call. Please click like and subscribe to the video and share the video. Thanks.